It's supposed to be Tag Tuesday, but we're going to switch things up today, and it's going to be all about Tim Holtz and Simon Says Stamps. Hi, this is Kelly from Kelly's Creative Dream Studio, and today we're going to talk about the class kit that a lot of people purchased for Tim and Heidi's live class last Friday on the 11th. Now, as I've told you before, I couldn't take part in the class because I was in a writer's conference, but I wanted to show you, now that everybody's been in the kit and seen what's in there, I wanted to share it with you, and I have some points to make as we go. So let's start with the kit. First off, I'm going to show you these two Santas. I was watching the video yesterday, and they played with a new product on these, which is their new snow. I don't know how well that's showing up. You can see the shine on those. And this is a blend of 2 or 3 products together to make this nice chunky snow on here. It looks like, I know there's a cup there. So I'm going to set these off the side. These, prior to being decorated, were in the kit. So I'm going to set those off the side. I did those yesterday so that when I got ready to do my makes, those were dry and ready to use. So I'm going to open up the kit. Look at this box of goodies. Isn't that amazing? The kit was, I can't even remember. I'd have to look it up, and I will post that in the description box below. But it was worth every penny because, except for a couple of items, we got full-size products. Not just the few pieces we would need for Project A, Project B, Project C, and yes, Project D. They did 4 different styles of products. Samples in the live, but we really got a lot of good stuff. So I'm going to set the box behind me on the chair, and we're going to take it one thing at a time, okay? And this is why I have a chair behind me. Now, I want to make a point. Q Brock posted in the comments on Timmy's video that says, watched all the videos over the years, but today's is my favorite. She said she had purchased the kit and so many products in the past and struggled with just how to get started. She talked about how she loved the way Tim had organized everything in preparations for the class, and it encouraged her to go through even her stash and organize everything the same way so she had a starting point. And I'm going to give you a couple of things from Timmy as we go along. First off, there was this entire package of layers. Now, layers are important. Layers are more of a paper base. They're not like the chipboard stuff. These are papers. These are your things for doing collaging. And there are, I think it said there was like 140 pieces in here. No, 84 pieces in this one. So this is all, I'd take it out of the package, but you know. But look at all those pieces in there. And I'm still looking for that Santa. I couldn't find him. I'm still looking for him. But he must be in here. So we have that one. And I'd toss everything on the floor, but then I'd never get down to pick it up again. So I'm going to set everything up on top. Then there was this package. And this is the ephemera pack. Again, paper layered quality on these as well. And we're familiar with the ephemera packs in like the botanicals, the butterflies, that kind of thing. So we're familiar with these. And if I can get that, there are 140 pieces in this package. And look at all that collage goodness. And we're going to talk about collage here in just a few minutes. So we had that one. Then we had this one. This is another layer, but this is paper dolls. So we have, again, the paper layered stuff. And notice this little dimensional. We're going to get to those in a minute, but you're going to love those. But this is all the layers, curated collection of salvaged elements, and we're going to use these in layers. And so this is the layers and paper dolls. There's 82 pieces in that one. Okay. Are you adding these up? I would be. Then there was this package. Now this is all the baseboards. This is the really chunky stuff. There are 39 pieces in this kit. Excuse me, in this package. And look at all the pieces. We have the frosted windows. We have the transparencies, we have the stained glass transparency sheets, we have windows, we have doors, we have other chipboard pieces. And this is one of the Santas that I decorated. I think it was, yeah, this one that I did. So, and there are 39 pieces in that package. Then, we have, I'm going to get to some of the smaller stuff here in a minute, but then we have the complete book of the sticker book. This is Christmas 2024, that has all these sayings. And you have the bigger words back here in the reds and greens. Same words, different color base. But then we also have some, what you might call washi tape trim. And then we have other words. And now I learned something in this video today that I thought was really cool. Y'all know Paula Cheney. He talks about Paula all the time. She is his right hand when it comes to curating everything. And what she did was she had gone through hundreds of books relating to Christmas. And they didn't just copy the words down and use those. Oh no. She took the words out and they created a scan of them. So the color behind this is exactly how it was in the book. You get all of the nuances of the varying shades from the books that they came out of. See, this one was more white, and Silver Trimmings was more white than Deck the Halls with Boughs of Holly or To Dreamland. They all have the aged effect just as they were in the book because they are photocopied from those vintage books. And so that was Christmas 2024 sticker book. There are 432 stickers on that pad. Okay, then we get into some of the smaller stuff. This is one of the things that really excited me. These are new dimensional stickers. And you know how I always talk about how I hate doing dimension on a tag because they're too bulky to put in a pocket. Not with these new ones from Simon Says Stamps. They're like a third the thickness, maybe even a fourth of the thickness of a regular dimensional. So you can add dimension to those tags, still put them in the pockets, have the dimension without the bulk with these. And you can find these at Simon Says Stamps, okay? So then we have, they gave us tags for what we would be using, and they gave us more than one. They could have just given us, okay, you're going to need one of those, and you're going to need one of these. And you're going to need one of these. And that's all they could have given us. They didn't have to give us multiples. But they want us to show that they wanted to show the technique. And I'm trying to get this sticky off of here. I probably should have left it alone. I'll have to come back and do that later. But they could have just given us the 3 we were going to use in the class. And that's all they could have given us. Oh, but no. They gave us multiples. There are 3 of the big ones. No, there's 2 of the big ones. Yeah, 3 of the big ones for bases. Then they gave us this one that was pre-die cut, and then they gave us 3 of the small ones. Now, let's talk about this one, because this one's special. They also gave us a die. They're rounded slotted panels, and here's one of the things that Tim mentioned. Excuse me. I should have brought my soda. I've had a cup of coffee already this morning. But let me get this out of here and show you what makes this so special. Is with this, and I'm going to get it out of here one way or another. With this, you can position this anywhere on a piece of paper that you want and get your slots. So you could use this, you could use this on a scrapbook page, and you'd be totally fine anywhere within the page that you wanted to do it at an angle or whatever and run it through. But you also get the frame. You know, with this, they could have put the slots down here. They could have put them higher. They could have put 2 sets. But then with this, you can cut this out and make just the pocket and layer just the pocket in. So I thought that was cool. And this was an exclusive with this kit, if I'm not mistaken. So you might want to check with Simon Says Stamps and see if they have this. This is called the Rounded Slots and Panel. It's number 1381SD on Simon Says Stamps. So there was that, and that's what made this tag so special. We only needed to make one of these, but they gave us three extra blanks, so we could make our own top and we could have another base. So that was pretty cool. So we have that. And I'm going to set this one over here to the side because I'll lose it if I don't. Okay. Then they gave us 2 packets of the small, or as Tim calls them, the loosables. We have the balls and the ribbon that we will use for one project. But then we also have the drippy candles that we'll use for this project. We have a mini blending tool and an extra topper. We have string and clips and the Q-tips. Now this is one thing that Paula had suggested for the tips, because there is a difference in the tips. And that is, you really want to use the Q-tip brand, because these are a little poofier and they're wrapped tighter around the stick and they don't fluff out quite as quick. And she uses these to apply when she's working with her crayon in small places. And that's another thing. I'm not going to give it away just yet, but I encourage you to go watch the class. For years, Tim has been trying to get Paula to explain to him how she does her coloring on her paper dolls. And it's just beautiful. But words weren't doing it. So she sent Tim a small video on how to do that, and he gave us tips in the class. We also got 3, and I think the colors varied from kit to kit, but we got 3 of the Distress crayons. I got Salty Ocean, Fried Brick, and Lucky Clover. Those were the 3 crayons I got to work with. Then they gave us a new mini ink spot. This is Ice Spruce in the Distress ink. And you know me, I love working with the spots. Then we got, I'm going to back up here a minute. Then we got envelopes that will fit the number 8 tags. So we got 3 of those. And we got 2 card envelopes, I think. And we got the card bases to work with the cards and the tags. So we got those. We also got a sheet of acetate. We got a sheet of the gold glimmer paper and the silver. And this really isn't a gold to me. To me, that's more of a champagne, but that's fine. I love it. And then we got this, and we got a $5 off our next order of $5 or more. So aside from shipping, you could get something totally free in this kit. You know, aside from everything else I'd already done. So we have those. And then we got not 1, not 2, but 3 sheets of the sellotape stickers. And I thought that was kind of cool. So, you know, they didn't scrimp on what they put in this box. They gave us a peppermint. We have the frame that we will use in one of the projects, and they've named her Olivia. And then we have the dimensional strips, and he suggested kind of rolling them a little bit and popping them apart ahead of time, so when you go to use them to do one of the projects, then they're already set apart and you don't have to fiddle with them. Okay, so we have, and they gave us just enough to do 2 projects probably on that one. And then we got 2 things of spruce. Now we have seen this in the past, but it wasn't as fluffy. And we have 2 strips of these because we're going to need both of them for the project he does in the frame. And then we have a bottle of the collage medium in matte, and he explained the difference between the collage medium and regular glue or matte medium. Collage medium will dry faster than the matte medium. And then a small bottle of the glossy accents. So if you've got a big bottle of the glossy accents and you really don't have room for it on your table, when this one's gone, just refill it from a bigger bottle. And last but not least, this was the special thing. This is the snowflakes. It's glitter and mica flakes. Now this was a sample size bottle just for this kit. And let me tell you, it's going to go a long way. But this is going to be released in August to the public. This was a premiere piece that we got in the kit. Now, so we've got that out of the way. I want to do a collage tag next Tuesday. But for right now, I have 5 minutes to go. I want to talk about, in the video, Tim talks about how he organizes his products for the class. And then she went through and did the same. but because she said she'd purchased the kit in so many products in the past, and she struggled with just how to get everything started. And so Tim had talked about that, and when he did that, it gave her the confidence to go into her stash and reorganize and make it to where it made sense. Now, how many of us can relate to watching Tim videos, purchasing products, and then thinking, I can't do that like Timmy. You're not supposed to do it like Tim. But he does give you steps in how to pre-organize so that you're ready. He also talked about the why and the order of the layers when you're doing collage to get the effect that he does. With the class, he didn't take questions from the chat. He taught the class. So you went through and he walked through everything and he told you why he was doing something the way he was so that you understood. Q-Brock also mentioned on how helpful that step-by-step was and not having questions interrupting in the chat. Now, don't be afraid to hide things in the layers when you're doing collage. And like I said, we're going to do a collage tag next Tuesday. Now, in my opinion, things peeking out is part of the collage magic. So when you're putting things in the background and then you're afraid of covering up, remember, it's like peeking into a store window and trying to see what's behind the other stuff. Use items that aren't your favorite for the base. He explains why he does the things the way he does. And keep in mind, his techniques can be applied to junk journaling. When we're doing mat boards, we're putting together tags, we're talking about layers on something. It can all be applied the same way. So even if you're not really into Timmy, go back and watch the video and see how he talks about how and why he does the layering. I also have another video. Gal did Christmas stuff from this after that, and I'm going to post her video down below to give you more ideas. So, we have a lot to do in the meantime. So, if you haven't already, go in and order. I think there may still be kits available. If not, pick up the pieces individually. Get your layers, get your baseboards, get your sticker book. Get your ephemera pack, or go through your stash and see what you purchased last Christmas or the Christmas before and what you can put to use. And we'll be back here next Tuesday to do a Tim Holtz Christmas tag. In the meantime, please remember to like, to share, subscribe, and as always, creative Christmas blessings.